What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Proper Royals Live. It is Tuesday, January 30th, same 8 p.m. on the East Coast, just like every Tuesday night. The year 2024. I figure I don't put like show numbers on my episodes, and now I'm finding as I accumulate my audio only library, getting ready to go onto the podcast platforms. There's not as much context if people don't know when I'm putting the show on. So I have to announce it now. So yeah, January 30th, 2024. I never really understood that. Never mind. I was going to say it's not circa, it's AD, year of our Lord, all that good stuff. Welcome. Hey, there's 30 of you out of the gate. We got Jarred from JAW Dropping Morphs on the show tonight. Jarred was, of course, on the 15 Minutes of Lame competition with his wife, Allison. They're a family operation in East Tennessee, veteran owned. And I'm looking forward to hanging out tonight. Everybody loves the clicks and the big names and the Bob Vu's and that stuff of the world. And I'm thankful when they come on the show. Don't get me wrong. There's no lack of appreciation, but I really enjoy meeting people who are growing and developing, around sort of where I feel like I'm at, which sometimes I've grossly misjudged, but I like sharing their experiences. I like meeting new people. There's a built-in camaraderie because we're, clearly I'm not just bringing strangers in. So, there's a little bit, there's not total strangeness, but anyway, tonight's one of the nights that I really kind of look forward to, and I'm excited. So Jarred from JAW Dropping Morphs, stick around and hang out. I appreciate everybody in the chat. I'm not good at engaging the camera, reading the comments, trying to get through announcements and all of that. But I assure you, I do watch it back, which is a little bit awkward, but I do watch it back and I do check out the comments. So thank you very, very much for hanging out. Without the audience and the guests, it's just me yapping into a camera. So I'm very thankful for you. I appreciate it. The hiatus has come to an end this weekend. This Sunday, I will be at the Cold-Blooded Expo show here in Minneapolis. If you're in the region, the vicinity, it's in a different venue than it's been being at, but this outside of Tinley, that's the best regional show that I've been at since I've been in the Midwest. So I'm real excited for it. It'll be my second of those shows in that location with that promoter. Generally, it takes kind of 2 or 3 shows for me to kind of get my footing and get the brand recognition from the local customers and that kind of thing. And right out of the gate, it was a good show for me last time, and I'm hoping that it's better and that kind of thing. So I'm excited, but come on out. It's a great show. I know, I believe Troy from Best Dressed Balls will be there. Chris from Epic Style will be there. Joe from JSA, they'll be there. Mark and Krista, MBK, they'll be vending there. It's a packed, big slate of cool vendors. So I'm excited for it. That's this one-day show too. Just one day, February 4th, Sunday, Cold-Blooded Expos. Check them out on, I'm sure Instagram, but Facebook for sure as well for all the details of locations and time and all of that. Happy shipping day. Like, January 31st, tomorrow, I'm going to be able to ship out of Minnesota. How cool. And like safely, not like, crazy. Like I called to see if I even needed heat packs. I was talking with REDLINE today. Look, I know that they're one of my sponsors and advertisers, and yes, there's a transaction that has taken place with REDLINE. Fine. But what I'm saying is, how cool is it? I call them up. I said, hey, here's the zip code I'm shipping from. Here are the zip codes I'm shipping to. And I want to insure all these packages. So I want to have your blessing. I want to follow your guidance. Where do I need heat packs? Where do I need phase packs? And where do I need nothing to get these animals safely to you? The response was, what are you shipping? How big is it? What size boxes are you using? Here's what we recommend. Really kind of a concierge type of shipping service. Prices are great, all that good stuff. And you'll see on the banner, but you can get a promo code $5 off if you check them out. So kudos to, I worked with Jackie and Erica at REDLINE today. So great job to both of them and to Robin and the REDLINE team. I hope you ship safely. I hope you get new stuff. I want to see everybody's unboxings and all of that on Instagram tomorrow, which I'm sure I will. I've got a couple things coming too. Yeah. How about that? Something I don't plug very often. I don't know if you guys know, on Thursday mornings, I do another live show. It's called Proper Cup of Joe. And it's a really goofy name. I know, it's cool. My buddy and I, Joe, his last name is Arner, Joe Arner and I, Joe is not a reptile guy. I am a reptile guy. And what kind of inspired the show was a little bit of a shoehorn, because I really wanted to do a show with Joe. He's a great conversationalist, and he's a good friend. And we really kind of clicked pretty well. But all of us in the audience, I think, can empathize. We go through our lives like, do we tell people we breed reptiles? Am I going to sit through somebody lecturing me about a snake? Or is it going to be somebody really curious, and then they're going to want to know about the tubs, and they're going to want to know about the breeding, and then there's the recessive gene. All of those conversations are the things that we cover on Proper Cup of Joe. It's a reptile guy and a non-reptile guy making our way through life. And of course, I like talking business, and Joe's a good guy, and all of that stuff. So check it out. If you haven't, live Thursday morning, 7 a.m. That's a lie, 7:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Do the math, backwards from there. And if not live, catch it on the replay. I know it's really early for me. Moving to Minnesota changed that from 7:30 to 6:30 for me. So catch it on the replay. Same channel. You know how to find the channel. There, you made it here tonight. You can find it there too. So I hope you check it out. I really enjoy it. It's a good fun. I say this in a thankful way, and I say this in a certainly not bragging. I don't have anything to brag about. There's plenty of people doing way better than I am, but January is a good month, man. Look, I know that we all got different regions. We all got different experiences. Everybody's entitled to their opinions and their feelings and their beliefs. I'm not calling it the end of the tough market. The market's probably always going to be tough. I don't know that anybody's going to get filthy rich doing this ever again. But maybe we can make a good life for ourselves, or a good side hustle, or just meet whatever goals we have personally. I really feel like the market's loosening up, man. It could just be tax season. It could be, I don't know. I really thought people would still be broke after Christmas, but it's been a good January, and knock on wood, it keeps going. Especially, I've got 3 shows in February, so I would like it to keep going, but I'm looking forward to it. I gotta say, I think some of the auctions on Morph Market are helping too. I haven't done a single auction, but I think that there's more activity on Morph Market. I'm seeing more new first-time buyers inquiring as well, which I know we can all get snobby and say that's challenging clientele. Sure, lots of questions. I just had somebody who didn't really understand how shipping worked and all of that. But it just feels different. Feels different than the last 7, 8, 9 months. So anyhow, the fingers crossed, or whatever we do for good luck, I hope your January's been good. I hope February's good. All of that stuff. I'm certainly not being greedy or like I say, boastful about it. The rodents are finally coming to life. If you're local here in Minnesota, I'm not shipping. I'm not freezing. I'm just dealing in ASFs. But if you're local here in Minnesota, Western Wisconsin, and Northern Iowa, by the end of February, I'll be looking for regular customers. I'm actually intrigued by the business model of selling rodents. If you have experience, I'm interested in hearing your input on how you take on customers, how you make sure that you can service the customers. No sense in taking on a customer and then they call you next week and go, "Hey, I need that same order." And you go, "Yeah, I ain't got it." They're gone. There's nothing more frustrating. We've all been on the customer side of that. So I'm trying to balance that. I'm not even sure I've figured out the math on how many I need for the snakes. I just know I have way more than I need. So I'm trying to balance that with customers. So I'm interested in hearing about that as well. But by the end of February, I've got a few people on a wait list, but if I can help you out here in, again, Minnesota, North Iowa, or Western Wisconsin region, let me know. Just ASFs. That's all I got. That's it. 45 of you. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Look at this. This is good. I got, I don't know. Troy says he knows a guy. I don't know if that guy is named Troy. I got to catch up on all the comments. I'm not going to be able to during the show, but I trust they've been very kind, and you guys are looking out for each other and all of that stuff. So thank you for being here. I'm humbled. Jarred from JAW Dropping Morphs. I I've never met Jarred. We spent a little bit of time talking on the. I gotta ask him. I think we talked on the phone. We did a reel together, and it was very, very fun. And I have to say, when he put out the reel, I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. But I also was a little bit let down that all my other outtakes, I probably sent him like 9 clips of me just blowing up at a telemarketer. The reel was, he was calling as a telemarketer to solicit my support in the 15 minutes of lame competition. And I played the guy that was just, irate with the telemarketers. I thought it was pretty good work, not Oscar worthy or anything like that, but I thought it was pretty good stuff. And so I always wanted to see where there was going to be more of it, but and that's just me being selfish. I really loved it. I think he went with the you people clip where I just scream, what is it with you people? So it was very cool, and I had a good time. So please, we'll learn all about, I don't need to tell stories about the man. He's sitting here in the green room, ready to chat, tell the stories about himself if he wants to. So help me welcome to the Proper Royal stage for the very first time, Jarred Wood from JAW Dropping Morphs. Jarred, how you doing, man?
Good, Adam. How are you?
I am good. Probably much more pleasant to speak to than the last time you had to deal with me on the reels.
Yeah, I was just calling, and I just want a little support, man. That was it.
I have to look. Maybe we can make maybe I can make a reel of like this segment and then just interject like me screaming things into the phone. How's life in East Tennessee, man? Other than the lights going out.
Yeah. Other than the lights going out, I guess they decided to time out on me. Sorry, give me a second.
That's okay. That's the beauty of live. It's not whatever this is, live. That's what it is.
The live.
So
it's been pretty good here. We got a super cold snap that came through. Got the most snow we've had in probably the last 15 years. And then ice on top of it, shut everything down for about a week.
I don't know if you know, I lived in Western North Carolina, just across the border from Johnson City. And like here in Minnesota, we got the equipment for it. We got the houses for it. We got the water lines run. I mean, I'm in a basement and the water line comes in 8 feet under the basement. Like it doesn't, wow. Pipes don't freeze kind of deal here. I remember in Western North Carolina, man, we would get, once every 2-3 years, we get 16, 18 inches of snow, and there's nothing. You don't have snow plows on the curvy roads through the mountains. You don't have, I mean, I don't know, your town might, but ours didn't. And it was just like everything done, man.
Yeah, it shuts everything down. So I'm about 30 minutes from the North Carolina border, but a little further south. And it's crazy. They canceled school for almost 2 weeks. The freeze, they couldn't get to the back roads.
Oh,
they couldn't get to the back roads to clear them out. And we're in, rural East Tennessee. So
right.
They said, hey, the freeze and stuff, we can't get buses. School's closed.
It's man, it's kind of crazy. So I guess nobody tuned in to hear us talk about weather, but how did your animals fare? Did you have to put to use any generators, backup plans? Would you run into on that?
So as soon as we heard the weather was coming in, I got the generator pulled out and ran the power cables just in case, especially for the rat building. I have a building full of rats outside. And luckily, we didn't run into any power issues this year. Last year, when we had the extreme cold, TVA, who's the power authority here, had rolling blackouts because they were using so much wattage. So that's right. So last year, I bought the generator, and I was glad I had it this year just in case.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I had one of those situations one year and I was like, that's it. Never again. I mean, to this day, I have a generator kit now that I did have to use in North Carolina, but I didn't have to use in Florida or up here. But do you heat at home at all with natural gas? So is that a secondary backup if the electricity goes out or not? All electric?
No, it's all electric. I mean, I've got a gas fireplace, but I never got the gas installed. So
So you have a decorative, what is wrong with me? Decorative centerpiece there for your room, huh?
Yeah, that's it. It's just decoration.
Gotcha. Did and we got to circle back to this. For those that don't know, you are active in, I believe, is the National Guard. Did they do the state of emergency and ready the National Guard at all for any of that weather or not? Did that affect you that way?
It didn't me, but we did have standby units on standby throughout the week, and especially during the initial blast. So that's kind of something that we do if we see that severe weather's coming in. They always have an on-call roster, so they know these 10 people from this unit, these 10 people from this unit, and then they get the trucks and stuff staged and with generators on it, ready to go.
Yeah. I had a rental house in Florida when I was living in North Carolina, and you'll see where this is going in just a second. I didn't realize that you guys did that stuff, but I had a property manager, and so I never knew the tenant, that kind of thing. Hurricane's coming. I call the property manager, and the property manager's like, look, I got like 300 properties. I can't speak to the condition of every property. And I was like, well, then you need to put me in touch with the tenant, because I need to make sure they have what they need. And I wasn't the landlord that was going, you better take care of it. It was me going, hey, do you need the credit card? What do you need to get from Home Depot? Take care of the house and all that. Turns out the gentleman was in the National Guard, and I don't know if he, in my mind, the way he described it was about 8 of his buddies that were in the National Guard were also hunkered down in the house there. And he was like, we got all the sandbags. They're all up. They're 5 deep around the house. I ended up sending the guy a case of beer and a case of champagne just so, because I was so I was like, wow, that is perfect. So I didn't know you guys that was one of the things that you all did, of which I'm trying to say I'm thankful for. So I appreciate what you do. And if nothing else, for the extreme weather, but of course, all the other stuff too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that's actually the National Guard's primary mission is disaster relief and homeland, stuff like that, taking care of the bases here or the people here in your state. That's not so much what we do overseas. That's kind of like our sidebar mission when we get federalized.
Yeah. And that, and I don't want to, this is the last thing anybody tunes in here for, so I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but that stuff doesn't make the news headlines. The everyday stuff that you do that is that important, that all we see in the headlines. I don't even have to say what we see in the headlines. So screw it. Like I said, I don't want to go down that path. But the day-to-day, like you say, the homeland stuff, the state, local, regional things are really valuable. And I think that's important. And so tell us about your, if you don't mind, tell us about your current position, sort of situation, circumstance in the with the military. Were you active right now, or what's your status?
Yeah, so right now I'm active duty National Guard on ADOS orders as active duty other service. So I am the assistant master gunner to the regimental master gunner. I'm a Bradley master gunner, so Bradley fighting vehicles, kind of like a little mini tank. On top of that, I'm a platoon sergeant for a reconnaissance platoon that is armored reconnaissance. So we fight off of armored combat vehicles.
And that would be to get called to conflict or overseas. Hopefully any conflict is ever overseas, but that would be for conflict activity, so to speak.
Yeah. So that's what we train for. That's what my MOS is. So my MOS is a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout. And then my alternate job, or my, I guess, additional duty is Bradley Master Gunner. So we primarily train for that. The civil service stuff is kind of, we're all pretty ready for it. It's not something we have to train. So we hone our combat skills more than we do anything else.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your service. I've said this, before on the show, and it every time I say it, it makes me a hypocrite, but I do believe it. I believe I did not serve in the military, but I do believe that everybody should have some sort of service component, whether if military and, fighting or battle isn't somebody's thing. I think there's a lot of ways that we can serve each other, our citizenship, our country. And I'm very appreciative and very thankful for it. It's not a lot. I mean, it's not easy. It is a lot. I'm sure it's not everything you wanted to come talk about tonight, but I think it's valuable, and I don't know that the appreciation's always there. So I want to make sure that that you know that, at least from me personally, anyway.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you, man. So tell us about the stuff that people did come for. Tell us about introduce your brand, introduce what you got going on, and you know, the geekier the better. We all like a little stats. We like to know what you're working with, numbers, all that. Hit us.
All right. So I'm Jarred, JAW Dropping Morphs. As Adam said, we're veteran owned and family ran. Me, my wife, and my daughter, we all jump in on this, and it's a team effort. We do rats, of course, which we spoke on. We also breed ball pythons, which the majority of people do. We focus on right now sandblast. We're trying to get to the point where we hit urban camos. So sandblast is something we're really working. We just got into the Grim project, so trying to do Grim clowns, fire Grim clowns. So we do some hypopide stuff. We're heavy into GHI. We've made some awesome GHI stuff, and kind of in the process of transitioning a little bit, the point where everybody gets to where, you know, the reptiles we bought to start out with are kind of fading out. So we're all upgrading our collections and trying to revamp a little bit. We still have a lot of bananas because bananas still sell to the local and pet market. On top of that, we do Mexican black king snakes. We're working on those right now, and leopard geckos. So my wife just recently invested in some more leopard geckos, and we're hitting that pretty hard. Her focus on that's going to be purple head and tangerine projects. And then jeweled lacerdas, which is probably my favorite reptile. That's coming up this year and should hit pretty good.
Cool. How if you can, I don't know if there's a good way to explain it. How much of your time or how active is how much of a day job do you have, I guess is what I'm saying. You got a lot going on between all those species, the rats. We didn't get into any quantities, but there's quite, I mean, you got to have quite a lot there. If you're working with anything, there's quite a bit of quantity. How much time are you able to dedicate to the reptiles and jaw dropping morphs versus day job responsibilities? Or does it come in chunks, or how does it all work with the family as well?
So the reptiles is kind of chunks. You know, I leave the house a lot, and sometimes I'm gone for a week, 2 weeks, and the wife and daughter have to pick up all the slack on all that. That's rodents and reptiles. So we probably spend, I would say, with the reptiles alone, 10 to 15 hours a week dedicated to that. You know, check-in, watering, feeding, and then another 3 to 8 hours, depending on how bad it gets in the rat room. You know, complete change out of tubs, watering. It's kind of an ebb and flow depending on how hot it is. Sometimes we have to stretch it 2 weeks before we clean, but usually it's a weekly thing. Me and Allie go out there and we knock out the full clean out. Yeah.
So when you say it's a family operation, this is full on family. This isn't my situation where like my wife will pull some eggs if I'm at a show, but otherwise, yeah, this is Adam's place. So the family's really hands-on with you.
Yeah, Allie's pulled eggs before, put them in the incubator. Chloe's pulled eggs and put them in the incubator. You know, Chloe goes out usually every couple of weeks, you know, if I'm not home or something, and she feeds and waters the rats, make sure that's all good, make sure the temps are good, and then her and Allie will knock out the poop scooping and the rewater and the spraying tubs. And Chloe really jumps in when Allie's working late and stuff, and she comes home and I'm gone. I'm like, hey kid, can you help me out and do this and this? She's like, yeah, no problem, I got you. I'm like, all right, I'll pay you $20 this week.
That's right. It never hurts, right? That always sweetens the deal a little bit. Can I ask how old's your daughter, if I can ask? Just my son's
She's 13.
11, so I can just 13. Okay, cool. Yeah, my son is lazy. I've never heard a kid turn down $20. I'm like, dude, what? I'm tired. Come down here with me. Let's knock this out. And he's like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, I would have killed for $20. I used to go rake whole yards for $20, you know, in the fall. Like, anyway, so maybe he'll come around by the time he's 13. We'll see. Maybe
they all get that way. sometimes you just got to be like, hey, you don't have a choice. You want $20 or you want to do it and not make $20. It's your call.
Well, the Xbox subscription that he got for Christmas is just about to run out, so I suspect he's going to have a need for some cash flow here before too long. We'll see, but that's my hope. Who knows? Like I say, he can be lazy. I got to hopefully that comes around and that changes. So for one thing I always hated when I was starting out, and that I still have a little bit of a disdain for, and is not your fault, all the different nicknames. So Urban Camo, hit us. What genes go into Urban Camo?
So Urban Camo is a super pastel, super cinnamon sandblast het pied. So Urban Camo only hits on the het pied.
Super pastel, super cinnamon, and sandblast.
Yep.
And then the het pied does like a champagne het pied would do, and makes a visual looking pie, or a similar visual effect.
Similar. It gives you some really pronounced ringers and stuff.
Yeah. Gotcha. How close are you on that? Have you hit any yet or not yet?
We were super close this year. Unfortunately, the male that we produced it's having some health complications. So if it would have been healthy, I think we would have hit it next year. I think we were.
Gotcha.
We were short the super cinnamon.
Okay. But you had the. I figured you were going to say you needed the het pied on it, but you were short the super cinnamon.
Yeah. We were short the super cinnamon, so we hit super pastel cinnamon sandblast pied. So we were just a little short, and then we hit a couple more that were super. So we hit what was it? Sterling pied or sterling het pieds, which would have put us short the super cinnamon. We hit some pretty nice stuff. So we were close. We're probably a year and a half, 2 years away from hitting Urban Camo.
Right. But you got and that brings up a good point. Like the experience and getting the ingredients along the way, because even if you're holding back the ingredients, then you're going to increase your odds in the future of hitting them. So like my experience was I hit one dreamsicle this year, but I got the pied het lavender to go with it. I got the lavender het pieds to go with it. I got the other, codoms with the double het. So it's like, all right, in 2 years, I'll be popping out all kinds of them, So how's your experience been with the super cinnamons? And when you alluded to some health issues, I actually thought you were going to be talking about the super cinnamon challenges, but you said that you missed that, the super cinnamon. So what health challenges are you seeing? And then have you had any issues with super cinnamons?
We did 2 other pairings this year that it was black pastel to cinnamon. Knowing, they're allelic combos, but it does the same thing.
It does. Okay, cool.
Yeah. We had a couple babies that came out kinked, mixed with an incubator malfunction that was completely my doing. We got a new incubator, and it was the wine rack, how it's wavy.
Yes,
so
sir, yeah.
I pulled that out, and I went in not thinking with a piece of PVC, just a flat surface.
Oh, you need go ahead.
Messed up my airflow. Yeah, I didn't think about it, so it wasn't reading right, and I botched a clutch on that one, so that one was on me.
Not to pour salt in the wound. Talk through that one more time, just for people that might be building their own incubator. I think wine fridges and beverage fridges make great incubators, but talk through that challenge one more time for anybody that might be starting out on that.
Yeah. So what the issue is, we had enough airflow and stuff in it when I had the wine rack shelving, but we noticed that I guess with the vibration of the fan or just walking, that the egg boxes would dip over. So Allie's like, hey, we got to do something. Can you make something to flatten this out? I'm like, yeah, sure. I got extra PVC down here. It's too easy. I'll just cut a sheet of PVC, slide it in.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't take into account that my fan was under the PVC, and I didn't leave enough room for it to circulate the air. So we ended up with a hot spot in the incubator, and it wasn't super high, but it was high enough for the eggs to start pipping at like 53 days. And that's when I knew there was an issue. And then we started having, we saw some kinks, some super bad kinks, and just an issue with feeding, really. I think that's been the biggest thing. The ones that came out that were healthy they just don't want to eat right. So that's
interesting. Really, huh? Yeah, I got super lucky. I think it was even before Instagram. Maybe it was just on a Facebook post or something. I had DIY'd my incubator. It looked beautiful, just shiny glass, everything. And somebody was like, "Hey, your air's not going to circulate, pal. You're going to have a hot section, and the rest of it's not going to work." And I was like, "No, but it's beautiful." And they're like, "Get the wire closet racks and get your grinder and cut them till they fit and deal with it." And you don't get your glamour shots of your incubator, but it'll work. And it was true. That actually probably saved me that experience that you went through. So that's why I had you repeat it. I was like, you know what? So somebody needs to hear that. So where I know that people have done urban camos for some time now. Where do you want to take it? Or is that just like a cool thing that you want to hit and that's it? Or do you have other visions of things you want to put onto it in the future?
I'm not sure that I want to. Urban camo is pretty special on its own, and it still holds its price value. The Osborns have done a lot with it already. I kind of want to take the Sandblast and put it into some other code dominant genes and see what it does, and even maybe move. I glitched out for a second. I don't know if you caught all that. Sorry, my computer.
I gotcha. Okay, yeah, you're back. I think it was that you've done a lot of cool stuff, but you do want to mix the Sandblast into some other co-dominants and take it from there.
Yeah. I want to. So we want to kind of work with Sandblast more so than we want to work with urban camo. We want to hit urban camos just to say we've done it. But I think working Sandblast into some stuff. I think Sandblast. So it's a super pattern. I don't even know if you call it a pattern reducer. It washes out the pattern and does some crazy stuff. It really pixelates it and looks like somebody took a sandblaster and started etching the paint away.
Yeah.
So I want to see what that does.
Jarred, I'm losing you on your connection, man. You back?
No. Yep. Can you hear me?
Sorry. All right. Yeah. All right, cool. We're in good on that. Anywhere that you want to take, how much of the super cinnamon or cinnamon blackhead combo do you want to, are you, and I know you said you have GHI too. Are you chasing the black snake fun as well or not?
We haven't yet. We were trying to hit with the black pastel and cinnamon. We were trying to hit some of the gray matters, or at least the closest we could get to gray matter. People potato. But we worked that, and I would love to hit an all black snake, but to me, I'm gonna shy away from it just because of the risk of health issues and deformities with the super black pastels and the super cinnamons. Yeah,
people are doing them consistent enough, but I'm seeing more of them and I feel like they're consistent. I know a couple breeders that have done them a couple years in a row, but I don't know how forthright they're being on, have they figured out how to avoid, is it as simple as dropping the incubator a few degrees and waiting till, 60 days? Or is it, there's a lot of things that people don't talk about, and deformities and unviable animals are something that people don't talk about. So I don't know if I have a fair amount of cinnamon, and I actually really like the really dark and really light contrast. So I like the idea of, a super cinnamon and hypo. I think cinnamon or super cinnamon and candy or some of the lavender stuff would be cool too. But I don't know I don't know that it's worth me chasing down. I don't know that I want to figure it out. If I can learn from somebody else's experience, great, but I don't know that I want to figure it out. So I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite committed yet, you know?
I watched an episode of with Rob from Royal Balls. And he touched on that, what you just said about dropping the incubation temperatures. That allows the genes time to, I guess, correct themselves in the development process. So it kind of slows things down and gives the genes time to mutate in the proper direction instead of.
I don't know the
episode.
Yeah, I don't know the reasoning why, and I don't know that I personally would believe that a gene corrects itself, but maybe it does. Whatever the effect of the high temperature is, it's the results seem better on the lower temperatures, though. I do agree with that, but I haven't done it myself. I don't know. And like I say, I don't want the time. You know, time is so valuable in this endeavor, you know, not to mention unviable baby animals. Like that's a problem too, you know? So I wrestle with that. I'm not sure where to go. I have a couple super cinnamons that other people produced. So I know where they're coming from and I know that they consistently have them. But like I say, what I don't know is what percentage of them are viable, or if they're anyway, that's my own internal thoughts on that. So I think but because of those challenges, I think there's lots of cool things to be done. And I think that there's things that we haven't seen, and it's an interesting and in one way sort of bland background because it's so dark and all brown. On the other hand, we've seen tons of examples that it just takes that right singular combination on top of that to show us something that we've never seen before. So I think I'm pretty intrigued by it. Chris says, I tried the lower temps once and it didn't work. That was only once though. Yeah. The other part is that I'm hesitant. I don't want to change the temps that I know work for the rest of it. I got 30 other clutches that are going to go through that incubator. So I need a super cinnamon project incubator. Like, I don't know. That's where I'm like, I don't know, man.
Then you add more time to the incubation. So even if you do put in other clutches, then now you've got to reestablish the timeline that they're going to hatch.
Right. And I don't mind a few days. That doesn't really bother me, but I'm just, again, if I screw something up, it's a whole year gone. I only got so many years in my life. I can't go throwing those things away, you know? So, I would need different incubators. So anyhow, clearly I'm not quite ready to jump full committed into it, but I've got enough black pastel. I've got enough cinnamon. I think I got some GHI. So I've got the cool dark gene. Oh, I got mahoganies as well. So, I mean, I got other stuff I can mess around with if I want to do the dark gene stuff. Tell me what's exciting about Grim for you.
So Grim is a granite gene that I think is a little more pixelated in the alien heads and stuff, and does a little bit of lightning around them as well. I've seen what it does, especially mixed with fire and clown, and nobody's really working with it or talking about it. It's kind of one of those genes that didn't get promoted very well in the beginning, but I think that it has some potential. We just got to work with it and kind of mix it up and see what actually happens. Got to get it into more things to see what it really does.
Yeah, for sure. I know there's a guy named Casey Goff's Reptile Creations. He's working with Grim. He is overly excited about Grim. He's looking. So when you said that, it caught my attention. He talks a lot about it. So I know the Grim clowns are pretty popular. What do they call the Super Grim? The Grim Reaper? Has there been a Grim Reaper clown yet?
I don't know. I haven't seen one. If there was,
I haven't seen it either. But I'm liking the. I always like new. Everybody says that clowns are played out, and every new clown combination just blows people's mind and blows up. You know, I still think they're cool. I still think it's at the top of the heap. So I'm not one of the people that thinks clown is played out. So I'm always intrigued by that. How far away on the Grim clowns are you?
So the male I've got is about 600 grams. He should be ready to go this spring.
Heck yeah.
So it's a a Fire Jedi Grim het clown that I'm going to put to a visual clown female, lesser spot nose clown.
Oh, cool. Oh, I
want to put spot nose in it and see what the spot nose does with the Grim. You know what I mean?
It's going to go crazy is what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving spot nose. I just picked up some spot nose stuff to add to what I've already got. I'm liking spot nose a lot. So, well, cool. Let's talk about any other early investments that you talked about. You were trying to get some things out, but any early investments that you feel like you did really well on? We all know the story of, well, we bought cool things. We bought cheap males. We bought, shiny bells. They were cool. But what were some really like cornerstone investments that you've been really happy that you picked up? Let's flip the table on that.
So I get probably one of my favorite ones that we picked up kind of early on was a pastel super mystic GHI super trick. So Hayabusa. So we picked that up pretty early on and he bred for us all this last year. Be honest with you, the first probably, I don't know, 6 to 12 animals I got were, they made babies. Not always the greatest. They
made work for you is what they made.
They made work for me. So we've invested quite a bit of money into some newer stuff. I don't think we anticipated the market shifting as fast as it did, or at least on the lower end stuff.
When you say shifting down or a newer uptick, do you see an uptick yet or not yet?
I've got a show this coming weekend. This weekend will be my first show of 24. So we'll gauge it off that. I've seen a lot more interest. Like I'm getting a lot more messages and inquiries about it than I did last year. So I'm hoping that's a sign that things are moving back up.
Is this, you alluded to, so some of my show prep, sometimes I pick people's brains. Sometimes I just go scour the internet for interesting things I can find about them. Am I right that you hosted and promoted your own show? Is that what you have? Is that what you're alluding to? Do you have coming up another episode? No. Okay. So this is one you'll be vending at.
Yeah. So we'll be vending the Show Me Snakes in Knoxville, and hopefully we have another one coming up in April timeframe. It really
I want to do a whole segment on that. So we'll come back around. I'm intrigued by that, man. But so you're vending in Knoxville at the Show Me show?
Yep.
Is that 2 days or 1 day?
It's 2 days.
It is. That's a pretty big show, isn't it, there in Knoxville?
It's been kind of ebb and flow the last 2 years. Some of them turn out really good. Some of them turn out mid. Knock on wood, I haven't been skunked. So I've always sold at least 2 to 3 animals every time we went.
Gotcha. Do you get follow? I mean, do you find benefit even if there's not great sales? Do you get follow-up sales and inquiries, or is it just sort of a show revenue or not show revenue?
I've probably had a total of 3 people ever come back to me and say, "Hey, we missed this. We want it. Can we come get it tomorrow?" Now I've got a lot of repeat customers off of it, which I think has helped.
Right. Yeah, I personally find a lot of value. It's funny. I'll have great shows and I think I have more, maybe I just talk more about it, but I seem to have a lot more $0 shows than most people do. But then I get really good follow-up and I get really good, like you say, repeat customers and local revenue. So I'm kind of, it's kind of the old get out, put the best foot forward and let the chips fall where they will. But I do treat it as work and I try and make sure that I'm on. And the more post-show sales that I've gotten, the more convinced I am of just put me in front of the audience and I'll eventually make some money, whether it's in that moment or whether it's afterwards. So I always like to check and see other people's experiences and how that goes for them.
And it's great networking too, you know, because
Yeah.
you get to meet so many cool vendors of rodents, vendors of cages. Like, you know, I've met Gecko Junkie there. So I've got a
Yeah.
bunch of cages and stuff off Gecko Junkie, Tristan Kaler. I've got people that I buy reptiles from now that I'll only buy from them because I've seen the quality.
I miss all the shows up here seem to be one day a week or just one day shows. And I miss that camaraderie that you're talking about, the networking, the evening hangouts. I mean, the evening hangouts are fun. They're fun just because they're fun, but there's a lot of good business that can get done. There's a lot of really good relationships that can be built. You get to meet the support around the breeder that you might know, their spouse or their kids or a business partner of theirs, or, you know, whoever. And I really enjoy that part of it. The camaraderie I miss on some of these one day shows around here. That's a little tougher for me to get. I'm trying to get used to it. And the truth is I don't know anybody up here yet. So having those 2-day shows was something I was like, oh, look at all the shows. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're only one day. And everybody they just pack up and leave. And I'm like, all right, I'll head home again. And, you know, so,
I wonder why that is. It seems like there's a lot more 2-day shows down in the South area. And I don't know if it's because of the weather or the long distance that it takes to travel up there sometimes to get from, you know, one area of cornfield to 6,000 acres of cornfield over.
I don't know, but you know what else I'll tell you? That I was amazed though, because I that's kind of how I envisioned things before I lived here. But man, in 3 hours, I can be in a lot of different, pretty big, substantial markets. I was amazed. So the pros of it are you only have one day. You're back home that night with your animals, and I'll do. I think I have 26 shows on my schedule this year. Only Tinley and Green Bay are hotels. So I think 4 out of 26 I have to get hotels for. So the rest are all and 3.5 hours is the most I want to commute each way in a day. I mean, because that's already nuts anyway. So any longer it gets unsafe. But what that means is I don't have to pay the overhead of the hotels. I'm back home. It's not 2 days of catching up. It's less stress on the animals. And honestly, it's kind of like a urgent rodeo. There's one circuit in Wisconsin, the Scaled Up Exotics, and they do, Scaled Up Expo, excuse me. They do a great job. But Jared, it's 4 hours. It's 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Boom. That's it. I mean, it is line out the building, down the block, in for 4 hours, and boom, it's over. And so like part of me is like, that feels unfulfilling. And another part of me is like, you're just on. You get rid of all the fluff time. You get rid of the ups and the downs. And, oh, we had a little pop there and now it's slow now. No, just go straight on, man. It's pretty cool.
I guess it makes a little more, makes people more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here. They're ready to buy because they know that they've only got this time and this time, right? It's
right. And that could be, maybe that's why I get the follow-up sales too. Maybe people couldn't be decisive in the moment and then they think about it versus a 2-day show where they're like, I'll just come back tomorrow. You know what I mean? I don't know. The other weird thing to me is that they're on Sundays and I'm not particularly, church bound on Sundays to put it that way. But I'm surprised that so many shows are on Sunday where, like, in my mind, I'm like, unless you're in a restaurant, you don't want to be doing shows on Sundays. I mean, you're up against church, you're up against football, you're up against family time. But they do, I mean, like I say, they do well. So anyway, it's there's pluses and minuses to both from just a straight financial standpoint and logistics. The one-day shows are a little bit easier, but I miss the Orlando, Tampa, and Daytona shows. Those are great shows, man.
I'm hoping to go to Daytona this year. We'll see. I'm gonna try to make it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm in that situation myself. I'm gonna try and make it. I gotta, like I say, figuring out I figure, I mean, legitimately, it's going to be, I either have to fly down and it's going to be 4 days out of the operation, 2 travel, 2 in Daytona, or I could drive there and back and deadhead it with somebody. But again, that's at least 4 or 5 days. And then that's going to take a day of catching up anyway, if I do that. So figuring out the logistics of who's going to handle stuff. Cause like I say, I mean, my wife and son will help me out, but running the whole thing while I'm gone for 4 or 5 days, maybe not, I'm not sure. So there's ways to leave animals for 5 days though. That's the other thing. So I could do a lot of work on the front end and get it set up. So we'll see. It's probably just going to take a kick in my butt and make me get going. So, I want to jump in on you hosting a show and the promoting it and get into the weeds on that. I'm really, really intrigued. Stick around, everybody. If you don't mind, we got kind of a good natural break. Let's pay some bills real quick. Guys, don't click away. These sponsors are who make this possible for me to do. I'm coming up on 3 years of this show, and these sponsors are what make that worthwhile. As much as I enjoy it, I do. That's a lot of time to commit. So check out shedtesting.com. That's Charlie at Gray Rider Reptiles. He just announced the Trick Hurricane Blitz test is now available. Charlie is acquiring the ability to do new tests all the time now. He can go get that information on his own. He doesn't have to wait for scientific journals. He's partnered with a genetics lab. So he is doing his own research and development, and he will have lots and lots of options for you to test with. I know that Puzzle's either in the works or is available or soon to be, but 100% Trick Blitz and Hurricane is now available as well. Check out shedtesting.com. Use the promo code proper15. He's going to give you 15% off of 2 orders. He didn't say 2 tests. He said 2 orders. So let it rip, man. Go see what Charlie can do for you. You're going to love the experience and the turnaround time and obviously the accuracy. This is scientific genetics he's doing. Brandon Nixon is a ball python breeder. He's also got blood pythons. He's got boa constrictors. And I think he's got some retics too, but certainly focusing on the orange genes in ball pythons. He made a post this week on his Instagram about blood pythons and an orange gene that he's working with them. Sunset, Ultramel, Monarch, and Hypo genes with a wide variety of codoms worked into those projects. Check out Brandon. Portuguese pythons, that's Danny and Renee Rocha out in Chino, California. Great people to do business with. They just hatched a clutch of super blackhead Ultramel combos. Yeah, go check out their Instagram page for great content there. You're going to see they're working with some really cool high-end double and triple recessive projects. But like I say, I know for a fact right now they have super blackhead Ultramel combos available. Trevor at Ball Labs. That's Ball Labs in Aurora, Colorado. Trevor's been keeping reptiles for 20 years and breeding ball pythons for 15. He's got a wide range of selection and a deep collection too. Puzzle, Ultramel, Clown, VPI Xanthic, and Tri-Stripe. And when I first did like my discovery marketing meeting with him, he was like, yeah, I'm working Monsoon and Zebra and Sunset. He called me the next day. He goes, Adam, I don't want to scare people away and think that they, that my stuff isn't for them. So a wide range, something for everybody. Go check out Trevor in Aurora, Colorado at Ball Labs. Last but not least, the longtime supporter, sometimes business partner, Tinley co-vendor at the table. That is Chris at B and S Reptilia. Thanks for all the support. Chris has been an awesome friend, mentor, compadre, hanging out, drinking some cervezas, hanging out after the show. But Chris specializes in ball pythons, blood pythons, boa constrictors, colubrids, pituophis, all sorts of different species. It's called Reptilia for a reason, and super knowledgeable and always willing to help. I've never heard him turn down anybody asking for help. And I think just for those reasons, all the things that he's done for this community, you should check out Chris at B and S Reptilia. He is also the regional distributor of the Chipper. Go see him in Pennsylvania. Check him out. All the links are down below, and the links for Jarred and Allison Wood at JAW Dropping Morphs. That's down below in the description as well. Shannon mentioned earlier, thinks I'm acting like the maestro with my pencil, so now it's in my head. Extra points for the Seinfeld reference. Point deduction for the distraction. So you're back to 0, Shannon. I've only ever thrown it once, though. There was one time I was flinging it around and it hit my camera, which I had a moment of fear, because if I'm going to ruin a camera, I want to do it for something better than throwing a pencil. So, Jarred, tell me, like I say, I didn't hear anybody digging in. I didn't hear Chris really dig in on you hosting your own show. Tell me about the context of that. Tell me about what the show was. I have lots of questions, and I can't wait to hear about this.
So the show started out as an idea to try to get a little bit of community and camaraderie for the people in Tennessee, the breeders in Tennessee. Because I realized that other than the onesies and twosies shows that we get here in Knoxville, and you might see 2 or 3 breeders from Tennessee, you might see 15, but nobody ever, that we never just got together. Kind of like you guys went to Jeremy Warfel's house and hung out. Like we didn't.
Yeah, but I had to drive from Florida to do that in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so I empathize with what you're saying. Yeah, the camaraderie.
So I was like, you know what? Let's do a show that is only for Tennessee breeders, so we can show the community the quality animals that we bring, that they need to shop and buy from us, that we're here, we're local. You guys can come see our snakes, see our animals. We have rodents, there's all kinds of stuff that nobody ever knew was in their backyard. And then after that, I wanted to have a dinner where we got Mexican and stuff. So I catered in Mexican food, and we had some drinks after the show, and we sat there at the National Guard Armory and just shot the snuff and had a good time. And everybody helped clean up. We had a good time, and they all want me to try to do it again.
Nice job, man. Nice job jumping in. And what I was jotting down the notes was, what problem were you trying to solve? Why, anything that anybody takes the initiative to do, we usually either see an opportunity that's ripe for the picking, or we see a problem that we think that we can solve. But you took us through that when you talked about really focusing on the Tennessee breeders. How many vendors did you end up getting to come on with you on this?
I think we had 27 breeders that.
No way.
20,
oh, nice.
27 vendors that showed up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this wasn't just like, hey, come down to Jarred's basement and check out some snakes and have some hot dogs on the barbecue. This was a full on show.
Yep. We had the doors open from 9 to 4. I had a little over 300 people through the door. And I did it to bring camaraderie. I didn't do it to put money in my pocket. So we took all the proceeds and donated it to the Boys and Girls Club.
Good for you, man. So what, and I always say this, people don't realize this in the audience, but to everybody who comes on the show, they kind of get the same spiel before the show, which is have fun. Let me know if I ask something you don't want to discuss. So some of this could get into that. Okay. Cause I am just popping. So what'd you charge for admission on it? What was your structure on that?
So it was $10 for adults, $5 for kids. I think kids 5 and under got in free, and then all military and law enforcement got in free.
Gotcha. So would you gross 2,500 ish ballpark? Is that a safe guess?
Between the table, so the table rentals, and everything.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So you did charge the vendors for the tables. This wasn't hey guys, I'll put this on the first time. So you got the 27 paying. What'd you charge for the tables?
$20 a table.
Cool. Okay, so I cut you off. Your door and your tables, where'd you ballpark would you get to?
Like 3,800.
Oh, higher than I thought. Okay. Wow. And then did you have, and you don't have to like get really specific, but did you have a secret hookup? Like we all need, I always say, like, we have to accentuate like our secret resources. So I heard you say it was at the National Guard Armory. Did you get a little hookup on that? Did you have to pay the house fee on that, or did you get a discount or not at all?
Since it was for charity, I didn't have to pay anything for the venue. They let me use it for free.
Cool. See, this is why I ask these questions. This is gold here. So what'd you love about it? What are you going to do different on the second one? What struck you as like, this was a home run, this part sucked? What's the next step for you?
So I want to restructure the way I had it laid out. I thought it was decent, but I think that I want to stick to limiting tables. We had some breeders wanted 8, 9 tables, some of them wanted 4 or 5. So I think limiting the amount of tables to get more vendors in there.
That's how you got to 3,800. I was like, how does that math work? It wasn't 27 times 20. It was 27 times however many tables they wanted times 20.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah,
$20. Sorry. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Okay. So you see enough demand that by limiting the tables, there was more vendors that you could have brought in, you think, if you had capped the per vendor table limit?
I could have. I had, I think, 7, 8 vendors on the standby list if somebody backed out that wanted to come in.
Wow. And obviously not any names or specifics. Did you run into any personal challenges that you felt with, hey, clearly this isn't exactly what I would want to have in our show sort of? Did you have any issues with unhealthy animals or just things that bothered you that put you in a pickle as, hey, I'm the show promoter and you're doing this? Any issues on those kind of things?
Yeah, so I put out in the initial blast that it was captive bred only, right? I didn't want any imports in there because being a federal or being a state facility, I couldn't have any of that stuff because of the the liability.
Okay.
So
yeah. All right.
I put that out, and there was only one breeder that I had any issues with. I had a couple animals that I didn't think looked healthy, and I could tell that they weren't captive bred. Just based off looking at them.
Were they local, like regional snakes they just went out and got, or they were imports, you thought, or what?
They were lizards. I'm pretty sure based off the lizard it was. There's not a lot of people that breed them here successfully. So I know based off that variable that it was more than likely not captive bred. And they didn't look healthy. They looked dehydrated, emaciated. So I made them pull it off the table. Dude ended up, they stayed, but not, they stayed, but not happily. They finished the show. They were not happy about it. I think that kind of bothered me. I don't like drama.
Right. Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. Yeah, see, I'm just going to kill some space before you jump in or before you reconnect there. I have some event planning experience, and I deal with brides and their family members, and there's nothing worse than cutting off somebody's drunk dad, and that it kind of, I don't want to be the police of anybody anymore. And that has nothing to do with the police. I don't want to be in charge of anybody else is what I mean by it. Because I've thought that there are some opportunities for shows or a boutique model or something like that. And just what you're describing is just like, man, suck the joy right out of the day, right? I mean, here you are, You're trying to do the right thing. You got your pride and joy, your baby, this plan that you've brought to life. And now you got to confront somebody who then is going to be pissed at you for the afternoon. And now you feel like there's the tension or the drama in the air for the whole show.
Yeah, there was tension, like you said, tension, and it just felt different after that.
Right. It's like being at the dinner table at your friend's house and the mom and dad are screaming at you like, oh, okay, I think I got to go now. I hear my mom calling me. I'm out of here. So, I'm guessing that's a problem that solves itself. I'm guessing the guy or the woman, whoever it is, they don't call you back. You don't reach out to them to invite them back, and life goes on for the next show kind of deal.
Probably not. And I think that was a good lesson learned and that's something that I wish more venues would do, more expos would do, is really go through prior to the show and look at the animals that are there. Because I did that prior to. I went through and inspected everything before the doors opened. So it was never even on the table when it kicked off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will say now, not every one of them, but one of the show me shows that I did here in the Midwest, guy actually had like his like police mag light. Like he's looking at everything. And I kind of laughed a little bit because I used the little white paper squares, you know. I'm like, if you want to see anything, man, it's going to jump out at you. He's like, no, I really appreciate it, actually. And he's like, yeah, I'm not concerned about, you know, but he did check it out. It was neat to see that because I had not seen that before. And obviously there's, you know, we do want to be good representatives and good stewards of our community and our hobby. I think anyhow, I know that I do. So I was happy to see that. What'd you think? What was the best, like, you know, kind of toot your own horn? What went well? What was the thing that you were most excited about and made you say either, yeah, I really want to do this again, or yeah, I think I should do this again and give it another shot?
So at the end of the show, like I said, we did, you know, we catered in the Mexican and stuff and kind of had a little town hall meeting, and every vendor that was there said they want to do it again. I kind of pulled it. And I asked if there was anything that, you know, whether it be venue, whether it be date, time, whatever, that they would like to change. And they kind of gave me some feedback and stuff, but everybody was really open to doing it again and seemed like they wanted to keep it consistent. And they even asked me to do it twice a year instead of just once a year. So
very cool. Who were and yeah, actually I should say even better than very cool. The validation of your colleagues is one thing. Like for people, like we could sit on Instagram and high five each other all day. For people to put their money down, commit to doing it again, show up, actually do the work and be a part of it, that's a whole different story, man. So that is super cool validation. Did you have any I don't know the best way to put this. We all have people that we look up to. We all have people that were like, I'm sure there was a point when you were cooking this idea up, you had, whether it was in your mind or a literal whiteboard, you had a whiteboard that you're like, all right, I'm calling so-and-so. I got to get so-and-so. These are guaranteed. I think these are a toss up, and man, it'll be amazing if I can get this person. How successful were you? Were there, you don't have to tell us the misses, but like, if you, who were the scores? Who were the wins? Were you just like, I don't know. I geek out over some people. So there was, you know, if I were doing a show and I could convince, you know, here in town, Joe at JSA to come down, or down in Florida, if I could have convinced Dale to come vend at a show, those kinds of things. Did you have anybody that you were just like, man, how validating that they would come and vend this with me?
So Tristan Kaler, actually, he was kind of the first, you know, Gecko Junkie. He was the first one that I reached out to about the idea. I was letting him know, hey, this is what I want to do. What do you think? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, I'll help you any way I can. I was like, what, do you want to be a sponsor? He's like, sure. What do you charge me? I said, I don't want to charge you. Just come set up at the show and help me promote it and stuff.
Yeah.
So Gecko Junkie was there.
I don't know Tristan personally, and there's another person that vends. They're everywhere, man. They work their butts off, man. They're all, I couldn't believe all the places I see them. And I mean, I'm talking from Tampa to Tinley, man. They're everywhere.
Yeah, he's all over the place. All over the place.
Yeah, those are great to have him as part of your show. I cut you off about Gecko Junkie. So and you were just about to start on somebody else too.
Brian Carter, BC's Balls.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
He's a local guy. I did have Shane Kelly, Small Town Exotics, but he had to back out for a work issue last minute. But with that, he brought Chris Eaton down. So he told Chris about it, and Chris came, and that's where we did our
oh man,
our first interview with Chris. And then Brittany and Johnny Gobble from Gobble's Reptiles came up, and they hung out. Had Alyssa Leonard from Full Throttle. A bunch of good vendors, RC Constrictors, came out of Nashville and helped set up a big colubrid. He was my 9-10 table guy. So, and there was a lot more people that I didn't even realize were in Tennessee. Like,
okay.
Muscles and Geeks, they reached out to me. They were on the standby list.
Oh, really? I didn't know they're in Tennessee either.
Yeah, there's so many in Tennessee. I had no idea we had this many breeders.
Good for you, man. And where, I should have asked this out of the gate, where was that show at? I mean, I know it was at the National Guard Army, but what town geographically, where was that at?
Lenore City, Tennessee. So about 30 minutes south of Knoxville.
Okay. So that's really convenient for people that don't know there's Knoxville, and then down the highway to Chattanooga, and you're kind of in the middle. And then, so this would be a little bit closer to the Knoxville side.
Yeah. So you're probably 30 minutes from Knoxville, about 2 hours from Chat, and about 3 hours from Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's one of those scenarios like I was describing here. You know, in a 3-hour window, man, you can get some really pretty big markets, and a variety, not just one, a variety of markets. So I was looking, I was like, where in East Tennessee is that? Because I was born in Asheville, North Carolina, and I've got a really pretty special place in my heart for Western North Carolina. But there's a thin line between East Tennessee and West North Carolina, you know. So
very thin.
So yeah, sometimes imperceptible. You might not know which state you're in.
That's a fact.
I know.
And stuff. You don't know where you're at.
You don't know which one. Yeah, you don't know. And in the national park, the Great Smoky Mountains, you wouldn't know either sometimes. So, all right, we talked about the show and the experience of the last one. Where's the future of it? Tell me about that. I think you alluded a little bit to it earlier, but take us into the future with it.
In the future, I do want to. We are going to do it again. I'm not sure if we're going to go biannual or just annually. And I want to. I'm going to try to promote it a little more, and I may do most proceeds go to charity. It was a lot of work to get.
Yeah.
Nothing out of it. You know, I'm not trying to sound like it's all about the money. It's not. But I put weeks and months of work into this, and I think everybody that does that deserves a little bit, but it is.
I don't think it's anything
to proceeds.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything to apologize for. The work and the prep that goes into any major event, and all the variables that could go wrong, and all the variables that you try and plan for and think of, especially when it's a thing that's close to your heart and that you're passionate about. Did you vend at it too or not?
I didn't.
Oh, all that, and you didn't vend either, man. So yeah, you definitely deserve something, man. So you did all that work for the community, and that lineup you mentioned, that's no slouch, man. Like, any one of those people could have been like the anchor that held the show and attracted the other vendors, but you had all those people that you talked about.
I think the only other thing I want to change, and I tried to do this, was a little more diversity at the show, as far as, you know, because that was the one complaint I got from the community was, oh, it's just another ball python show. Well, you know, there's a lot of ball python breeders. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, and a lot of ball python buyers. Yeah, there's a reason that there's so many ball python breeders, you know?
Yeah, they're popular. People want them.
Right. I don't know how I could tie it in contextually. There's a study that I read one time about the amount of time that people spend in the grocery store and where they spend their most time per item. And it's on the salad dressing aisle, because there's 9,000 salad dressings. Now, the downside is that the study also showed that 90% of people inevitably just bought ranch and left. So, but the reason that there's so many salad dressings is people love salad dressing, you know, like there's a reason and it takes up that. What other condiment has its own aisle, you know? I mean, so anyway, it's kind of like ball pythons, you know?
There's a flavor for everybody.
That is true, man. That is true. For whatever it's worth, I don't think there's any apology needed. I think if you're doing it the right way and for the right reasons, and you know, just being willing to confront, it's difficult to confront a customer that's paid their hard-earned money, believed in you, and you got to turn around to them and say, no, that's not good enough. And you you don't get to do your plan. You can either adjust it or you can go. And so that all has value. And that leads into this. We got about 15 minutes home stretch segment here. I think that almost without exception, every ball python breeder that I've seen sort of make it and have a viable path to doing this full time or chasing their dreams viably, almost all of them have a hustle within the ball python hustle. So whether they're selling dry goods, selling rodents, promoting shows, breeding crickets, Patreons, a YouTube live stream on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. There's always something. So I think that's an important component as well. That can fund you getting to the Justin Bob Vu level. It's just going to take time too. But I don't know about you, but I don't have 6 figures to throw at this thing and to go chasing people. I'm going to have to do it a little bit more organically than that.
Yeah. No,
so
100%. You've got to, and you've got to diversify. I think diversification, or the lack of diversification, is what cripples people coming into this. They get their mindset on one thing, one path only, and they don't ever want to do a broadening assignment and go outside their comfort zone into something new.
Do you mean it just from projects or from species in general or business models, or all the above?
Well, all the above. I mean, you know how much of a comfort zone I had to step out of to put a reptile show on after I've only been doing this for 2 years?
Right.
Who is this guy?
Well, I was going to ask, do you have any show or event planning, show running background, or was it total bootstrap grassroots right from just boom, there it was. That was the first one.
I'll be honest with you. I think most of that ability came from the military as a training and operations NCO. So it was basically a training and operations manager.
Yeah.
I know how to plan and prep things and kind of see what I'm missing. I just take a step back and look at it and figure it out.
Yeah. Systems, processes, implementation, tweaking, innovation. Yeah, I get it. Again, I haven't lived it, but I've always tried to learn and tried to study different areas to figure out how I can apply it. And that more applies to my restaurant career. But when it comes to how you're going to staff and train 80 people, how you're going to teach them all the information they need to know, well, you start looking at those things like you're talking about, and we could do a whole show on that too. But So running the show, I know you mentioned you breed rodents. Do you sell rodents as well? Is that another revenue stream also, or is that just to reduce your own cost?
No, that's another revenue stream. So I started out doing it to feed my own collection, and then got overran. So I started selling them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you know what? I'll charge enough to where it pays for my rat food and my bedding. And then that'll be fine. So now I'm feeding all my reptiles at no cost to myself. So breeding them and having the babies there's no overhead. But then it got so busy. I had so many people coming to me just over and over and over and over. And I'm like, all right. So now we've kind of branched out into doing some frozen thaw and selling those, a little upcharge for that, but I make money off the rodents. So
yeah,
I've constantly got a revenue stream coming in, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah. To me, that's a little snapshot of the long-term big picture, because there's always the goal for revenue, but rarely do we talk about bringing down costs. So if you could bring down costs and eliminate costs, that's an effective net gain in your pocket. That's profitable in your pocket. If you can do that piece by piece, if you can get your snakes to where they're essentially free to you, if you get your rodents to where they're free to you, and then you can still be cash flow positive, then you can be investing. You can put money back into it. You can buy the ARS racks, or you can buy save yourself a year or generation of breeding by going ahead and buying the super cinnamon or getting a little bit closer to the project that you want, kind of thing. And then it's a really thriving machine. And doing your own show, that allows you to promote your brand. I love the brand building, man. Just getting out there and staying busy with the 15 minutes of lame or doing these interviews. Even just not that, I mean, I have a little bit of a reach, but not that I'm anything super special, but getting in touch with me. Hey, Adam, can we do a reel? And I'm like, all right, let's figure, what are we going to do here? You know? And I love that. That's why it was easy for me to go, well, yeah, I've never met you, but what the hell, let's give it a shot, man. Because that's the stuff that I appreciate and enjoy. That's the stuff that gets me going, and that I kind of look at myself in the mirror and go, that's either A, what I need to be doing, or B, what I am doing. And I empathize with it. So I love it, man. I think it's all great stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you've got an untapped market of followers for me, right? And just like I will for you, hopefully that some of the people that follow me don't know who you are, and now they follow you. And the same with me. It's you scratch mine and I scratch yours without even intentionally doing it.
Well, and hopefully have a little bit of fun at it, and and hang out. We didn't have margaritas and burritos and all that, but we could do that on the next episode. That would we would give the disclaimer at the front that our behavior might what would it be? It would be more entertaining and less appropriate.
100%. It's not safe for work.
That's right. Not safe for work on it. What, any new other, well, if they're proprietary, don't share them, but any other new, secondary revenue stream ideas or things that you're cooking up, or any, dry goods products, or any other areas that you've explored or want to explore?
I had thought about maybe trying to be a cocoa supplier, but that takes up logistically, it's a nightmare because it takes up so much space.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
So I had thought about that, and then talking to some people that have done it, they really don't make very much off of it for the headache that it is. I think other than diversifying a little bit into some different animals, and after this reptile cage build, I don't know, maybe I'll set up a booth where people can come out and show me their design and pre-order a cage, and I'll do a custom background for them, something.
All right, now wait a second. Did you say you're doing the custom cage builds?
I just did one. I just finished one up.
Well, on what, like a 3D printer, on a CNC machine, or whittling it? What'd you make? What'd you do?
Oh no, the cage. So the cage I bought, I did a custom background and made attempting to make a bioactive enclosure.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, there's a few of those guys out. There's one guy, and I swear to God, he told me his name was Bio Dude one time, and I'm like, no, that's already taken. That's not you. I know there's a Bio Dude, but that's not you. And I regret. He's a hell of a nice guy. He vended Daytona, and I used to see him around the Florida circuit. But he did, terrariums, front opening terrariums, and he did these custom backgrounds. They were just super cool because they would be like cityscapes, or he'd have like a bodega with real cool graffiti all over it. But instead of it saying like beer, lotto, and cigs, it would say like rats, isopods, or gerbils or whatever. It was like this corner. It was just these cool themes and these really creative thoughts that you never know what'll sell and what'll reach people. And he was always slinging business. He was always doing the tables, and I was like, hey, this is cool, man.
One thing I've seen at the past couple shows talking about that just blew my mind is these little jumping spiders and the custom enclosures, and those things move like hotcakes. And I'm like, girl next to me at the last show, just one after another. I was like, geez, oh, Pete.
The little polished up Tupperware things, they turn upside down and they're like little snow globes, but for a jumping spider, right?
And that jumping spider is going to die in a year. And, they're well.
To be honest, I've never even seen the spider inside of one. I've never looked close enough to look for it. But yeah, they're very cool. They're very creative. And I know that's why I ask the questions. Like I love learning. There'll be something that somebody says that just like catches my intrigue or makes me go aha or whatever it might be. So I don't I have to, I mean, and obviously I mentioned Chris at B and S Reptilia. He's a chipper supplier, great cocoa. It's the when I use cocoa, it's the cocoa that I use. But yeah, I'm with you. I never understood the logistics myself, and truly, I never understood. I'm not saying that they're not there, because people do just fine on cocoa, I guess. But the footprint, to me, the markup has to be pretty minimal because of like these cocoa wars. I don't want to get in a war of cocoa and a race to the bottom. I don't want to have to rent a trailer to move my cocoa. So the large footprint always was kind of deterrent to me on it. And then the storage, and like you say, the logistics, I got to get a pallet of that. Where am I going to stick that? So I'm with you, but those are the thoughts that go through it. But it also takes the right person to do it, because damn, if everybody here doesn't have cocoa. So, I mean, Phil says cocoa cartels. I will never forget when Billy's Cocoa rolled out I think he was the first, but one of the guys in Florida, man, he was what do they call it? Evangelist, when you have somebody that's like, just like telling everybody about it. He's like, bring your cocoa, stick it in the water. I'm going to show you how it stains it. Get your snake over here. We're going to rub it on the side of the pied. I was like, I don't even use cocoa, dude. I'm not your guy. And he's like, but you could be telling people about it. I was like, I am not your guy, man.
He was the OxyClean guy for Billy's cocoa.
He was. No, it was great. I was like, man, Billy found his boy, man. That is and he did. He moved a lot that day. And I actually wish I could. I remember the guy's name, but I don't know that I've painted him in a good enough light. He's a great guy and he's really well established. But yeah, man, he was drinking the cocoa Kool-Aid, man. He was into it, man. That's for sure. So where can people see you? I know you mentioned it, but hit us one more time. Where can people see you next?
I'll be at the Knoxville Show Me Reptiles and Exotics show, Knoxville, Tennessee. It'll be this weekend, the 2nd and the 3rd.
Very cool. And where can they, if they can't get there, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at JAW Dropping Morphs and Reptiles.
Very good. And there are links to that down below. Guys, it doesn't cost you anything. Go check out Jarred's. Go check out JAW Dropping Morphs. If you're in the Knoxville area, and this pains me, as a graduate, proud member, University of Florida, go Gators. Go check out Knoxville. It's actually a cool town. Still telling you about Kentucky, you can have that. But Knoxville, I take a little bit of pride in this year's result of the Florida-Tennessee game. So at least we have that small smidgen of pride left in Gainesville in our program. But it's a cool town. Go check out the show. Man, I don't know when I'm going to get back to East Tennessee. I miss it. It's something from my childhood. Every fall, the 3rd week in October, we would always be there. I lived there for the past 9 years, from 2012 to 2021. So it's a special part of the world for me, and a very special place in my heart, man. I think about it often. I look forward to getting back there. And when I do, I hope we cross paths, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Come down and check out the mountains. We'll go have some grub.
Yeah. Oh, phew, absolutely, man. I just need to go find some barbecue. You go to a smoked pork place here and you ask for the mustard sauce. They look at you like, well, huh? And I'm like, all right, we're okay. Never mind. We'll call it a day. Let me see here before we wrap up. Adam, did you say what you use for substrate? I use paper towels and a whole lot of mist. That's it. That's all. That's it. I can't. I can show you the sheds. They're fine. I have the resources and the time to handle it. I don't necessarily advocate that, but for my own reasons, that's what I prefer. Guys, thank you all so much. Again, check out Jarred's links down below in the description. Thank you very much. We'll see you same place, same time next week. And check out Proper Cup of Joe on Thursday morning, 7:30 Eastern time. I'll see you soon. Jarred, did we miss anything? Anything we got a promo on the way out here? You want the last word?
It's your show, man. Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's been a blast. It was great talking to you. So look forward to watching and seeing some more.
Likewise, I very, very much appreciate you and the audience. So stick around for just a second. Otherwise, good night, everybody. Cheers. Thank you very, very much.